Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie. Warner Anderson as Matthew Swain. Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi. And Mia Farrow as Allison Mackenzie.
Leslie Harrington runs the biggest mill in Peyton Place. He drives the biggest car. He owns the biggest house. And once Leslie has his hands on something, he never lets it go.
You really believe you can fight the codicil?
I'm sure of it.
Really? Why?
The secrecy with which it was drafted.
Oh, but it was drafted legally.
Legality involves many things, one of them being intent. Certain promises were made to me by Catherine and her father.
Were they put in writing?
The original will,
Which was amended by the codicil.
amended later by a Catherine who was ill.
Oh.
Yes. Oh,
Are you going to say Catherine was unbalanced?
no, not that. We can find a kind of word.
The word you do use. Your word won't carry enough weight.
She had a doctor.
Dr. Morton's word may not carry enough weight either.
That's ridiculous, his reputation.
Don't bank on his reputation, Les.
What do you mean?
Dr. Rossi.
He's been discredited.
By an autopsy performed by Joe Bradley.
Exactly.
Suppose Joe Bradley and Dr. Morton conspired.
Conspired.
Yes, conspired.
Oh, Laura, you've gone overboard for this Rossi.
A little while ago, a very agitated Joe Bradley pulled Dr. Morton out of a very important meeting. It's all over the hospital, Les. And then we have a very agitated Dr. Morton. And suddenly, Joe Bradley is incommunicado.
Good afternoon, Dr. Morton. Mr. Harrington's in the living room.
Leslie. Laura?
No, Doctor. I was just reading. I can see myself out less. Bye, Doctor.
A drink?
No, thank you. Leslie. The reason I'm here...
Before you say anything, Bob, there's something I have to ask you. At the reported date of the codicil drafting to Catherine's will, what was her state of mind?
Her state of mind?
Yes.
Well, like anyone enduring a prolonged illness, she was sometimes difficult.
Disturbed?
Relatively speaking, she was always high-strung. Why?
I believe that Catherine was seriously disturbed. But drafting that codicil was not, well, shall we say, a responsible act.
There was nothing wrong with Catherine's mind.
But a moment ago, you said there was.
That was a purely subjective observation.
But an observation you made and commented on it. Would you comment further in court?
Now I see.
The word of Bob Morton would be practically irrefutable. Bob, do I have to tell you the promises that were made to me by Catherine and her father? How hard I worked. Our marriage wasn't what you'd call a good one. It became a kind of bargain. But I kept my end of it.
The court, huh? Leslie, this discussion is academic.
Not if you learn something from it.
Really? Well, you've made it easy for me to tell you something that otherwise might have been difficult.
You mean the fact that you and Joe Bradley in some way conspired against Rossi?
No, we didn't conspire. He was injured, yes, he was.
You don't have to be injured, Bob.
You'll protect me from that?
I need your help. And you'll need mine.
Les, I came here to tell you that Joe Bradley falsified the autopsy reports, that Catherine's death was my fault. I didn't come here to negotiate.
But you can. Bob, all I'm asking you to say is what you've already told me, that Catherine was difficult, that her illness had an emotional effect on her judgment. That's all true, isn't it? You are listening, aren't you, Bob?
Yes, I'm listening.
And you are thinking.
Oh, yes, Leslie, I'm thinking.
No one has to be hurt. Let the autopsy report stand. We can forgive Rossi. Mistakes do happen. We can reinstate him. What's wrong?
Nothing, Leslie.
It is a way out.
Yes, it is.
No one hurt. And everyone helped. Drink now.
No, thank you, Les. No, I have to go.
Goes against the grain, isn't it? The New England grain. The sense of morality, your medical ethics. Everything you've learned, Bob. But what about your instincts, the things that go deeper? What about your pure instinct for survival?
All I have to do is say a few words. A few measured words about Catherine Harrington.
Just a few words. A few measured words. And we can keep quiet about everything else.
I'm very glad I came here this afternoon, Leslie. It's always very helpful to talk to you.
I like the view, Mike. You picked up our habit of leaving your door unlocked. I'm sorry, it never occurred to me that you might be expecting company.
No, it's just... You surprised me.
Do you want me to leave?
Nora,
I don't really want to.
can I fix your drink?
Please. This is charming, Mike.
Thank you.
It's just what I imagined you'd have.
Want some ice?
No, thank you.
You ever been here before?
No, you never asked me.
No, I mean before I moved in.
Oh, no. When the Carsons lived here, I was just a schoolgirl. But let's not go into that story tonight.
All right. Why did you come here?
On impulse. And because I got tired of waiting for you to ask me. Do you know I know a man lived here without ever being told?
I didn't make many changes.
Ah, that's what I mean. Men camp out, women move in. I wasn't here 5 minutes when I made this fire. If I had to wait much longer, you probably would have caught me rearranging the furniture.
Laura, I like it the way it is.
Naturally. Come sit down, Mike. I would like to make a toast to the future success of Dr. Michael Rossi. Don't you want to drink to that?
First, I think I better find out what it's all about.
All right. See if you like this one better. To your appointment to the hospital staff. Oh, it's true, Mike. I'm not just talking about getting your hospital privileges back.
Who told you this?
Dr. Michael Rossi, Assistant Chief of Staff. How does that sound?
It sounds incredible.
It can be arranged.
Arranged.
My brother is chairman of the hospital board.
You talked to him about this?
Yes, why not?
All right, I told you I prefer to fight my own battles.
Oh, you're not interested in a staff appointment? How do you think these things happen? There's always planning and everything. It's not how you get to the top, it's what you do once you're there. Isn't it?
Laura. You have a knack for rationalization, don't you?
Will you be less a doctor?
Laura, integrity is as much a part of medicine as skill and knowledge.
You sound like a testimonial at a medical banquet.
Laura, I'm not just giving this lip service. I believe it.
You know why you're saying these things? Your pride. But you'll get over it. You will, Mike.
Did Donald?
You're asking me if I pull strings for Donald. Yes! And he was just as angry as you are. got over it.
Laura, I don't want to get over it. I don't want to get over being a man.
Do you want me to leave?
I want you to stop maneuvering anything.
Well, that takes in all the territory, doesn't it? Doctor.
Laura. It has to.
Well, thank you, Doctor.
Laura, thank you. But let's don't make it a final thank you. I don't think it has to be, does it?
I wonder if I'd left Donald alone. If I hadn't pushed and pulled. I wish he had stopped me, Mike. Good night.
Grace, the pathology report was wrong. Catherine died of a perforated duodenal ulcer.
Well, why didn't that show up in the autopsy?
Did. Bradley lied to protect me. Without my knowledge, you'll have to believe it, Grace.
You don't have to tell me that. I know you.
Do you? Or does Bradley know me? He thought I would accept this. He was doing me a favor.
That shows he doesn't know you at all.
Doesn't he? Well, what about Harrington? Does he?
Not the way I do.
Leslie Harrington made me an offer this afternoon. He said that if I would testify that Catherine was a little disturbed when she added that codicil to her will. Well, not irrational, that would be too strong. Disturbed was sufficient and accurate. If I would do that, he would help me cover up my mistake. And the irony of it, Catherine was disturbed.
What did you say to Leslie?
I said very little. I left the whole thing up in the air. Bob Morton, the silver-haired Peyton Place sage of medicine, the kindly, wise physician. The whole town believed in him. So did I. So did I. And he doesn't exist.
But he does exist. He does. I know him. Not as a sage or a saint, but as a fine doctor. You had no idea Dr. Bradley was lying.
No, it's too easy to blame Joe Bradley. He acted out of a sense of loyalty, friendship, sense of obligation. Give him that much.
That's still no excuse.
Well, what's my excuse? I was so busy keeping up with the Joneses, I couldn't keep up with medicine. There is only one way, Grace, to clear Rossi. That's a full admission. That's my choice, Grace. Not whether or not to protect Bradley and myself. Whether or not to hurt you or Dr. Rossi.
Well, is there really a choice?
If Rossi had to, he could go back to his New York practice. It'd take him long to forget Peyton Place. When I weigh the short time that he spent here against my lifetime of living and working in Peyton Place, against 26 years of happy marriage, I wonder. I think what it would do to your life if this were made public.
Bob. 26 years. I looked back on them with a very full heart. And nothing can change my looking forward to the rest of our lives together with a very, very full heart.